Yeah. We got people there? Do you have people there? Do you have people that are on?
3. And then the last one had 59 views total, once it gets posted online, so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Roll call, Jackson. Here. Hornberg.
Here.
Dillman.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Collins.
Here.
Stonewall.
Here.
Kinsley.
Here.
Okay. Ann will be taken over now since we don't have an SBO at this point. Ann and I and Stacy and Jamie will keep notes. And then I will take up the notes when we are finished due to not having an SBO. Go from there.
Thank you for doing that. First thing, we need to approve the agenda. What?
6:30.
It says right there.
Music. I have cookies. It's not business. Sorry, I went home. One cookie. You come in person, you can have cookie. Oh, sorry, I already done it.
It's okay. No, it's okay.
No, thanks. Boosters are we're gonna be doing their thing, so.
Each one.
What?
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
There wasn't one for approving the agenda.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, this.
We're just making a motion to approve.
Yeah,
The
but we're gonna
agenda
wait till
until
6:30.
Yeah, correct? I'll make a motion to approve. We have to wait till 6:30.
6:29.
Yeah. It's okay.
Probably have like 20 seconds. And we can do it again.
And then with that clock is the same as mine.
Oh, I was going by that point. It's 5 minutes past. I
No, that's fine. Hey, there, well, there. Okay. Now, call to order, we did roll call. We're all here, and we'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you, Jackie.
Second.
Thank you, Doug. Is there any discussion? Guys, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. And opposed, say. Next up, we have the minutes from the previous meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes from the September 11th meeting.
Thank you, Jill. Is there a second?
Sure. I'll second.
Thanks, David. Any discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay, we have 2 sets of bills to approve this month. Let's go through those. Is there any questions?
Okay, I just have a notice at the top of this.
Oh.
I will just catch that. What do we need to do?
At the top of the agenda, it still says September 11th instead of October, so I'll change
Change
it.
what?
It says September instead of October, so I'll change it on the minutes and then I won't change it to reflect it after the meeting.
These, volleyball checks need to be $32.50. Just half of the money.
I'm not, what did
It
you
was
say?
$65, the volleyball checks need to be $32.50. It was half of 65.
What is that a refund of, or what is?
Well, because they went to camp and the girls just paid for the whole thing up front, but it was supposed to be half of it.
And what did she put?
Well, it says $30
On bills number 2,
on bills too.
Okay, I'm not sure, so I can look into it.
Okay,
So I need to look into,
Yeah, the
Volleyball
reimbursement, yeah.
Does school pay for the other half then?
Yeah. There's some about not getting, write a check or
it should have been 32
$32.50.
and was paid 30.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then, you see the elementary doors are on here for 6,000, whatever, but we haven't approved them yet, which is later in the meeting, so how do we do that?
I saw that.
Yeah, it's on here as a quote.
It's on the agenda.
The action item number 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's in the bills.
Yeah. Well, then I guess right above that on the bills, it says kitchen door estimate, but it's did we already do that, or?
I didn't think so.
Well, it's low enough, we don't have to like approve that, I just thought it's funny, it's an estimate.
Do you have a new door?
No, I don't have any news at the elementary.
High school kitchen door.
That's the
Yeah,
high
they-
school.
They put in already.
It's not put in yet, no, but that was the cost of it, and so Jared just wanted to, or our buildings and grounds wanted to get it out there, so that the cost was there.
Can that come out in your nutrition fund?
Yes,
It is, okay,
yes.
maybe it is on here, I guess.
is the high school door and the elementary door on that one?
I just saw the elementary door.
Okay,
The elementary door is down below because it's a double door.
so when we approve the bills, we should take off the
Take off that.
elementary door, quote amount, because we're paying it down, and we'll approve it down.
Which one is it?
Bill number 1.
Page 2.
It's like the bottom of page 2. 3 up from the bottom.
How about lumber company?
We didn't have to like pay anything to purchase materials for it, did we? That's not what that, any of that money is.
For which one?
Speak up, I can't hear, I'm sorry.
Did we have to put money down for materials or anything? Is that any of the money on the bills for that?
For the
elementary
double door?
For the elementary door?
No,
Okay.
it's just, wait a minute.
I believe it's an entire door assembly.
It's the whole entire thing, and it's a double door going out to the preschool that's completely ruined.
Okay.
I guess the question is why, if it's on here as a bill, then we've still got a quote that we've got to,
Yeah, it should not be on here, it should not be on here.
Okay.
And Carrie, our person that's doing it right now probably got it mixed up. We've been working very diligently this week to get our bills caught up, since we have not had an SBO, so.
So when, whomever makes the motion to approve, just exclude that elementary door from.
And then if you approve it tonight, then we could turn around and then.
Right.
So,
And pay it.
so could we put on there excluded if not approved? Or something, I don't know.
Instead of canceling it and doing it right back, yeah, I get what you're saying.
So just quote for Doran Elementary if approved.
Correct.
Sure.
Approval of bills contingent upon approval of,
Elementary door.
okay, so I'll make a motion to approve bills 1 and 2 contingent upon the approval of the elementary door quotes.
I have a question before we even do that.
Sure.
Why do we have $2,000, almost $700 worth of attorney fees?
It's
Sam normally tells us,
it's an ongoing personnel matter. You were informed about that, didn't you?
$2,000 worth, $2,700 worth? Yep. I would like to exclude these from the bill and have them separated.
Well, there's a motion on the floor. So that would be Christine's to amend her motion if she wishes to. So if you want to exclude those, you would amend your motion to say excluding the attorney's fees.
Oh, I'll keep my motion.
Okay, is there a second or more discussion?
I will second the motion.
Okay, thank you. Now is there more discussion? Okay, all in favor of paying the bills, checking on the volleyball fee and paying the elementary doors if they're approved, say aye. Aye. And opposed, aye. Next up, we have welcome and recognition of visitors, Mr. Holden. Your honors. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
5 minutes or 3 minutes?
3.
Thank you. Sorry.
Did you have the clock?
I got my watch. Here. I got a new alarm, so give me a second.
All right, so I'll speak fast. So I always come and talk about bullying as a problem, not as an agenda item. I specifically put on it for the agenda to talk for like third, fourth time about this too. So last year at the Christmas concert, we had a teacher that completely embarrassed, bullied my child at the Christmas concert. It was done in front of everybody. The excuse was that he said something inappropriate. And the administration stood by that teacher, okay? This year, we had said same teacher then belittle my daughter. If you read the policies, it is clear that it's zero tolerance and it's not accepted, like a teacher can't do that, period, okay? So my daughter went and told another teacher who did her job as mandatory reporter and said something. And I will be honest and tell you that I feel that is the only reason that we got communication from the teacher, which starts out with, I hope this finds you well. Really? That's how you're gonna start your email after what you did to my daughter? No. Okay? Next, your policies, which is coming up. Okay, so your time to investigate. You can move it to whatever you want. This is what I'm gonna tell you. No judge or jury is gonna stand behind any school that has a 24-hour, 48-hour, 7-day investigation. All that does is give the school an opportunity to say, I don't have to investigate, which is fine. The school doesn't have to investigate. That means that said parent can investigate up to the next level, which is with the state or the, or go further from there, you go outside. Okay, so that's the only thing you're washing your hands off. Next, I read the policy last month, preparation to discuss it last month's meeting, which I didn't get on for because of timing, which I understand. Then it talked about, I read a part in there that talked about reporting bullying issues to school board, at school board meeting. I have never, when I was on the board, got any communication on that. And all the meetings that I've listened to, I've never got any communication on that I've heard. Second, I've asked multiple times, who's responsible for training the issue of bullying? Not only the students, but staff. For some reason, no one will answer this, okay? When it was under the training section, it was said in there that the administration was responsible for training staff and students. Now, the policy that's out there now doesn't have a reporting section and it doesn't have a training section. So I'm very concerned on how that happens. So my request, we accept resignations from teacher and administration and be done.
Thanks. Okay. Ashley's not here. So we'll move on to reports. I'm sorry, I'm looking at your communities. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Maybe streaming's not working either.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm answering that right now too, because I'm not sure why, because we're showing 8 viewers currently.
Something do something. Yeah, okay, going on, no resignations, we have hire SBO, AD, and then going on to some coaching positions. So I think since they're listed, it's however you guys want to handle these, since they're listed differently in the agenda, we could do the SBO first if you want.
I'd like to treat them separately.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve then, the SBO, Elizabeth?
Can I get a little information?
Who is she?
Pardon, who is the new?
She
for
lives
SBO?
here in the district. She has her, accounting degree. She has been approved by the board, or, by the BOEE, the Board of Education. And, she is willing to get her SBL license, which takes 2 to 3 years to get that, and go to her classes. Anybody that comes into an SBL position has to be also not only an accountant with 4 years or 2 years of accounting, but you also then have to go through the SBL. So she has children in our district as well. We have 3 applicants.
Would like to make a motion?
I'd like to move that we hire Betsy Spauer as our new SPO.
Thank you, Jill. Is there a second?
So she's, right now, she's not an SBO. So,
She's about in the same position that Stacy was when we hired her.
And same with Katie.
I have a question about something that's coming up further down the agenda that I think maybe will help. We have a sharing agreement coming up, I'm really sorry, with the AEA. And, it says a couple different things. It says for business, but then it also says for social work. So is that sharing agreement, is it for SBO services?
SBL services only.
Okay. So on the agreement, it says social worker sharing, that's wrong?
Did he send me the wrong one?
No, it says 2 different things. Sorry.
Have we had that in the past at all?
Hmm.
Have we had that in the past?
No, I'll share it with you guys. He just brought it up to me. It should not be, it should be, he sent me the wrong one.
Okay,
It should be SBO. And what that is Do you want me to explain it now?
Yeah. Well, I think so, because I think
I
that's
think
a
it
struggle.
ties the
of-
two together.
Yeah, yeah, they go together.
So what's been happening is a lot of our school districts are, short SBOs because nobody can find them. Right now, there's 9 or 10 SBO positions in the state of Iowa that are open. The AEA, they've been asking the AEA, you always get your mentor, but the AEA has the expertise of all of the SBOs. They've helped us through quite a bit of things this last year. What they're looking at doing is doing a shared agreement with the school districts and meeting with our SBOs 2 times a month. And where we would go to them and that we would help to fill out the VEX reports and help to fill out the state reports and help to fill out the car reports and our finances and our budgets and all of that. Where then they would work with 4 to 6 people. That would be their networking. And it's either a 1 to 2 year agreement. So that way they can have expertise right there while they're filling it out. And you would go every other week for 1 day from 8 to 4, working with them on anything. So like we just finished our Title I program. It took Stacy and I probably 4 days to get that done. This bed report, it's gonna take about 3 weeks to get done. So what they will do then is they'll say, oh, in a bed report, you have to do this, 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 and this. This week, I want you to work on this and this. They're gonna tell us exactly what that SBO needs to work on. And then they'll go back. At any time that we don't have something or the mentor can't help, then they can also do a Zoom with the AEA. And what's nice about it is, the 2 AEA people are experts at what they do. I mean, they hands down. But it gives us another avenue, not just a mentor, but it also gives us an expertise that they work it every single day of their life. And, the 2 people that I'm talking about is 10 to 15 years of experience in both of them. So that's the reason that we would like to get that
Okay.
going.
So we have a motion to approve Betsy. We understand what the SBO additional person is. Are there any other questions about how that would work?
I'm guessing salary, like, so you're saying 24 days plus, is it kind of unlimited Zoom meetings then? I mean,
Like on call?
yeah.
Say that again, Doug, I'm not sure.
Well, so you're in 2 days a month, so 24 days plus
Anytime we need them.
anytime, okay.
If we need to
It's up-
Zoom with them, if we need to make a phone call to them, they're,
Okay.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but what the agreement reads is 44 days. In here, the appointment is.
44 person-to-person days.
Okay,
Okay.
anything beyond that is gonna be an additional fee.
No,
It said, any additional days will be invoiced at a rate of $360 a day.
okay, but this is he sent me the wrong contract. So I will get that on there. It should have been an SBO contract.
Okay.
And he just sent me the wrong one. And they did it very quickly because I asked them to get it so that we could get it on the board agenda tonight. So I'll just make sure.
So that number that's on here, the
dollar amount?
The dollar amount is not gonna be,
What's the dollar amount? 34.
30,000.
Yeah, that's the right amount.
That's the correct amount.
But in the sharing agreement that you get, it doesn't cost us anything. That's how much the sharing agreement is, that it'll go to them because they're the ones that are coming to us. We're not gonna be going to them at all because we don't have the expertise in our field. So it's no money out of our pocket at all. It's just strictly what the sharing agreement money is.
Okay, that's.
So the states will be paying for them.
Yeah, well, they pay us and then we will turn around and pay them, yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
But it will be no money out of our pocket whatsoever. And I thought it was a great opportunity to get that expertise, especially since we have another turnaround in the SBO position.
So one more time. The state likes us to share things. And if we do, then the state pays us money for doing that. Yay, yay. But we're gonna take that money and give it to Central Rivers and get lots of good stuff from them.
Yes,
Do I
we
have
will
that?
get their expertise, and 44 days in person, like Stacy, like
Yeah.
us do. But then anytime we need to Zoom with them or phone call or anything,
And
that's
then
free.
they still have the ability for the mentor to pay.
Oh, absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
So they'll have the AEA and they'll have their own mentor, so they'll have both that they can work with.
Who assigns that mentor, Kim? Is it the ADA?
No. It is the, Iowa School Board Associate Officers of the programs. And I, as soon as it's approved, then I have to get a hold of them to say that we can. And then they will assign her a, mentor. And then, she can start on Monday if the board's reserved, so.
Where were you? I think.
So Jill
Motion.
made a motion and we did not have a
I will
second.
second.
Doug had a question.
Thanks for bringing that other point up.
Yeah, it was.
So who's second?
I did.
Justin
Okay.
did, yeah. Okay, is there any more discussion? Otherwise, all in favor of hiring Elizabeth Spowers, say aye. Aye. And opposed, say. Okay. Excellent hires.
Okay. First thing is Mick Long as the APU. And then he has a report that he wanted to share out.
Okay. So it has, Mick Long as an interim,
Yes,
is
that's
it
all right now,
for the rest of the year interim or until,
until you guys approve.
oh. Perfect. Would someone like to make a motion to approve Mick Long?
I make a motion to approve Nick Long as the
Okay,
Second.
thanks, Doug. Is there any other discussion on that? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Great.
So what Mike wanted me to talk about is there are 17 at this point in time. He has found 14 people that will apply, that has said that he interviewed, talked to, and all of that, that will take these positions. We had 3 more people that have applied for the 3 other positions that are open. There are 2 that we are still looking for. One is for our associate volleyball coach at the high school level for next year, and we're looking for a girls junior high track. But he needs to finish 3 of the 3 of the interviews yet before those can come on, but these are the people that he has talked to and that are willing to take those positions over, so. I thought it was pretty good because we had 17 of them, so he's been working very diligently to get these people on, so.
Can I ask a question about golf? We have a boys golf coach and a girls golf coach.
The reason-
Are they going different places? That's fine.
Yes, because what was happening is we were dropping the boys off at the station, leaving them without any adult supervision, and then taking them, so like when you go to BCLUW, you use one in Conrad, and then the other one is in Beaman, so then you have 2 separate golf courses, and our people are going to the wrong, there's no supervision. I counted them up, and there's 6, I think, this year that are opposite directions, so.
That makes sense.
Can we not just schedule ones that are together?
They're going more and more apart.
Are they?
Mhm. Because there are so many kids going out, they want to play the JV and the varsity, like boys at the same time, instead of having separate dates and stuff, so.
So you said there's 17, and we have 12 on our
Yes.
list. And so another time we'll see
Hopefully by the next board meeting,
the
we'll
other
see
5.
3 for sure, and 2 of them.
3 are
We're still
looking
trying to
good and
find.
2 are like big question marks.
So these are the ones that are solid right now. For me.
I just noticed this, Gail Beck is, signed up for assistant boys, junior high basketball, and then head girls,
Yes.
but one is home and one is away.
It's a split
They
season.
switched those seasons now.
So the girls are in, yeah, the girls are the first half and the boys are the second half. And then Brian Elevator, they're flipping duels.
My bad. I did forget about that last year.
Okay.
Who is Alex Long? I mean, is he related to Mick Long?
Yes, it's his son.
Oh, okay.
He applied, he was the only one that applied for it. But he kind of needs to.
He actually attended several of our games this season and, just standing on the sides and talking with him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of baseball knowledge with him too.
Very much,
It runs
yes.
in the family pretty deeply because Grandpa's one of the top state baseball coaches too, so.
Neat.
Okay, someone like to make a motion?
I move that we approve hiring the 12 coaches listed here. Good enough?
Yes, A through L.
A through L.
Perfect. Is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
Thank you, Jackie. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Nay. So we need a new motion. Hopefully.
I'll make a motion to approve contracts A through J.
Okay. We have a motion to approve contracts A through J. Is there a second?
Can I go roll call?
I'll
We need a
second that.
first.
Okay.
Second is,
I'd like a roll call on that.
thank you, got it. Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to keep up on the minutes. Approve A through J. Okay, roll call vote. So Collins,
Okay.
What'd you say?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is just to approve A.
A through J. Collins, yes. Stonewall, I'm just gonna go around, that's okay, I'm not, I'm sorry. Jackie? Yes. Okay. We're approving A through J.
Yes.
Yes. Jill?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And is yes. Christine?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm changing my name now.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
I'm confused.
So we approved A through J, all ayes except.
Yeah, but before you guys did A through L,
Right. It was not all ayes.
There was only two,
Yes,
so
it was Stonewall and Jill were the ayes on the first motion.
but everybody said yes, but Hornberg and Dylan.
No, and me and Christine.
Oh, you did? Oh,
So the ayes were Stonewall and Roberts. I'm sorry, guys. It's Hornberg.
David, what were you the first time around? Were you yes or no?
Okay.
You got to,
We're getting calls.
it was all kind of sitting on top of
It
it.
was hard. Inslee Jackson. Okay. So the vote was the same the second time then, correct? It would have been, because Stonewall and Roberts were,
The second time?
no, I'm sorry, it wasn't. So the only nay the second time was, they were Roberts and,
No, A through J
yes,
was
Yeah.
all yeses except for Stonewall.
okay, thank you. Thank you. Next month, I'm gonna read the minutes, I have to make sure that I got it, so. Yeah, just that. Make sure that.
so what are we doing with K and L?
Are we doing anything? So I'd like to make a motion. Okay.
I make a
Okay,
motion
now.
to approve K and L.
Okay? Stonewall. Is there a second to that motion?
No, I'll second that.
Thanks, Jill.
I don't know Cody Holman, but
Cody coached last year. With Randy along with, one of our teachers that's up here, but.
I'm not understanding.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve K and L by Stonewall, a second by Roberts. Okay, so all in favor of approving letters K and L, say
do
aye.
we need to have discussion? Doesn't discussion have to be?
We can discuss.
I guess I'm clueless on why that's. the AD is recommending we hire this person, and I don't have a clue why we wouldn't.
Because the evaluation was busted. So,
Any more discussion?
He was positive on K or L or both.
on all of them. On K and L. So I didn't understand why it's kicking out, so.
Any more discussion?
Hmm?
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to know why, when we had a successful season. A lot of wins, more wins than GMG has had in, I'm gonna stick my neck out and I'm gonna say at least 10 to 12 years. As long as my kids have been playing even baseball, softball, I followed them both. Yes, why? We've had a successful season. Christine?
I don't think we can discuss
Yeah,
it.
we
We
can't
can't discuss it in session. The reasons are not,
But with a positive, review,
well, we could go into it in closed session, we could explain to you our reason behind it.
we go into closed session.
That would have to be on the agenda, it would have to be next month.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving letters K and L, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, then all opposed, say aye.
I-
Nay, sorry, nay, aye.
Nay.
David, where were you on that one?
I was through.
Thank you. Just wanna make sure the minutes reflect. Okay, we are on to committee.
So we don't have a softball head coach, but we do.
Advertise.
We'll have 4 openings then.
Okay, on to committee reports. Are there any committee reports? Okay, policy will come up later. Okay, I don't think you meant the list of grounds. Nope. I don't have anything. Okay, great. Moving on, finances. Do you have anything to say about these, Kim? Or do you wanna wait for the next SBO on the finances?
Honestly, I've been, no.
Yep. Okay. Perfect.
Can I just ask, at some point on the balance sheet, which was the last one on there, if I'm reading it right at all, the cash in bank is $500,000 negative. If we don't have an answer today, I get it, but at some point, I don't understand what we're doing here enough to know why that's $500,000 negative.
I'm not sure what that is about.
Okay.
Because we have plenty of money in the account.
Yeah, went from 20,000 to maybe 480.
Yeah, 1,518,000. I'm not sure. I can ask her
Oh.
and I'll send it out.
Just not put into the cash and bank yet or
Oh,
something?
well, if you look down here, I see.
Yeah, at the bottom line is okay, because there's a,
The overall, yeah.
it's just not been moved to
I'm not
a,
understanding that at all. So,
or if we could, because our previous SBO is still available to some degree.
on every Tuesday for the month of October. And she'll come in Monday instead of Tuesday to work our new SBO.
So maybe that could be a question just
I can
on that
answer, yes.
form.
And I
It's on
can
the
send it out
balance
in the
sheet.
board update. I can call her.
Is that same as 480,000?
The money's just not in the right location, or,
It's challenging because we just had the AEA here a few months ago, right?
This is,
So it was all caught up and we're all good, and now we're back to like, I don't know.
well, we don't know.
When somebody leaves and somebody else comes in, there's gonna be some, I don't know, for a little while. But that's the only one that,
I'll send her an email right now.
Okay, we can move on to Erin Murdy, FFA. Taking enough of your time tonight.
I am here for my annual, we're going to convention spiel. So Kim had me put together a letter, I guess, where you can see me, letter to you guys, just giving you an idea of what we're doing. We do have a member getting a national award. Abe is getting his American FFA degree on Saturday before. So we're excited about that. Which, for those that don't know, that's like the highest award an individual can get in our organization, which is a pretty big deal. It's a culmination of 6 years of record keeping of what he did on the farm, skills, competencies, everything. So it's a big deal. And from what I know, they're coming out on Friday, I think, with Abe driving out on Friday. We'll have Reese with us out there. But so every 4 years or so, I'd like to take a bigger group to convention if we can afford it. So we've been kind of saving for a couple of years, and we are able to afford to take a few more kids this year. We had a point system we put in place a year ago for kids for every event or activity or anything they did, they got points. Those points added up, and then we kind of set a goal of you had to get at least 20 points in a year to be able to be eligible to go to national convention. So we had 15 kids that were eligible, and then after that they have to fill out an application. And the application is pretty long, but it asks them a lot of questions about what they've been involved in, how they can take what they learn at convention and bring it back to the chapter and do something, and what are some new things that they'd like us to look into getting involved in, or new activities, things that we can do for the community. So they have to put some thought into it. I don't want to just take kids and spend money on them to have them come back and not really put what they learned to work. So that being said, of the 15, only 10 actually handed in an application. 5 decided they just didn't want to take the time. So we're taking those 10, plus myself. We are leaving on October 31st, Tuesday night. Typically I would leave like at 5. Tuesday night. Typically,
I apologize, you wanna hear yourself talk?
No. Usually we would leave at like 5 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. I am too old to do that anymore, so, because we would get in the van and they would all be out like by the time I got to Tama, they're all sleeping. So we're gonna leave about 6 o'clock Tuesday night and drive to Peoria, or just east of Peoria, to Morton, Illinois, and spend the night there. So that we can get up and not have to leave quite as early Wednesday morning to get the rest of the way to convention. We need to be in Indianapolis around noon so we can check in, have some lunch, they can clean up. We have a concert that night to go to. Lainey Wilson is our concert this year. So we've got tickets to Lainey Wilson for Wednesday night. Thursday we'll go into convention and we will listen to keynote speaker. He's the author of the 100-Day Playbook. Juan Bandana, and then we'll go to a leadership workshop, convention session, career show. There's all kinds of stuff between Colt Stadium and the convention center that we do. And then Friday is our tour day, and we will be getting up very early, which they will be excited about. We are going to head out of Indianapolis. We're going to head to Montauk, Indiana, to Squire Boone Taverns, and then go to we're going to tour some caves, and then we'll leave there. We're 45 minutes from Louisville at that point, so we're going to go into Louisville and visit the Kentucky Derby. And I'm thinking we also maybe have time on Friday to go to the Louisville Slugger Museum while we're there. And then we'll head back to Indianapolis, meet up with Dealmans. They're coming in on Friday. We have a room for them that we take care of, and they'll stay with us. And then Saturday morning, Doug, we have to be at convention by about 6:45. So it's a very early morning because they start. All of us. We will, it starts at 7:30. They run through, I don't remember how many thousand kids walk across stage to get these awards. So And I don't know if they're starting at the beginning or the ending of the alphabet, but they're usually done by 11:30 or 12 with the whole thing. So last year we were able to check out of the hotel a little late. We went back and changed and then we were on the road before noon. So the hope is to be back in Garwood Saturday night by 7-ish. Chapter pays for the hotel. We pay for hotel tours. We are actually renting a 12-passenger van to take. I personally don't feel comfortable driving the activity bus in downtown Indianapolis. So I've got a van rented from the Ford dealership in Marshalltown. It's actually a new one. They just got into their fleet. We pay for that. We ask for a school credit card to put the hotel rooms on when we get there. Most of the hotels we work with now through the Housing Bureau do not want us bringing checks. They really prefer that you just bring the credit card and pay when you get there. And that's a bill then that while I'm there, since we have WebLink now, I can go ahead and pay for it and put it into WebLink while we're out there so that it gets into the system. And then the school pays for the gas, and then the FFA chapter is gonna pay for the rental of the van. So we've got the money. The kids know it's a privilege, not a right. And they know that we expect them to follow codes of conduct here at the school, as well as National FFA has codes of conduct that we have to follow while we're out there. We are all, as advisors, they have us on we have an app we download, but they have all of our cell phone numbers. So anytime there's an emergency, like if there's something that happens, they notify us all by cell phone immediately. It's happened before a few years ago when we were out there. Somebody had the measles. We all got a text message about someone in the convention center having the measles. So it does work, but everything's planned. I have paid for parking, the tours, and the concert tickets personally, and I put that stuff through WebLink today, just because that's stuff that's gotta be like right now, and like the concert sold out in 7 minutes. It was, and I was on there ready to go to get in front row seats, and we're still up in the rafters, but it was, everything happens very fast when we have to book things. So, but yeah, everything's set to go. The kids are ready. I got the letter ready for parents today. And then I have outlined everything with Kim in a letter that I sent to her this week too. So, questions? Thanks for organizing it. That sounds like a lot of effort. It's not too bad. I'm used to it now. I've done it a lot, so. But yeah, we have a great group going. We have 8 girls and 2 boys. So the boys lucked out. They get a room for the 2 of them, but, and then we'll put Abe and Grady in with those boys and have a room for Doug and Melissa when they come out, so.
So, is any of that a school expense? I try to keep up with.
Gas for the vehicle, if we could get gas for the vehicle from the school, that would be, I think, the only thing, because everything else comes out of FFA. We already, the registration already went through. It's an expensive trip, like registering the 10 of us to go is almost $900 just to be registered for the convention. So, hotel is about $2,800, around $300 to $400 for tours. And then the kids each pay $150 to help offset some of the cost of the hotel. So I figure, I can't spend that much money on just 10 kids in the chapter. I would like all of them to have a little skin in the game. So we asked for $150 and that helps with some of the hotel. So we'll bring in about $1,500 to offset some of that. And then we pay for the entertainment and the tours just because I feel like that's part of the reward for the work they did for the last year, so. All right, any other questions?
Can
Okay,
I
so I
ask
guess
you an
then,
unrelated question to your trip?
Yeah.
Are you still running the thing down there by the fire station?
we are, yes, the food pantry, yes.
And is it being used?
Yes, quite a bit. So we have a couple budget items that we raise money specifically throughout the year for that on. One is the silent auction at our banquet, and that goes directly to those groceries. And then they planted a pumpkin patch this year, and it didn't turn out the best because it was in a spot we couldn't get water to. So we do have pumpkins at our house that we're selling, and I'm making a donation to the FFA chapter that will go directly to that as well. So Yeah, it wasn't a good year for pumpkins. If you didn't have water. But yeah, those are some line item things that are specifically, we try to keep that specific, like money that's raised for that is just used for groceries for that. And then we get a lot of donations from churches like yours. So,
Okay, thanks for what you do.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Erin. Rachel, do the elementary principal report.
Yes,
so-
just real fast.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I just talked to Stacy through email. There's over $800,000 that has not been applied because of our open enrollment.
Okay.
So,
So it'll work quite a bit of money.
yeah.
Thank you.
So that makes me feel better now. So it's all our open enrollment money that comes in.
Okay, thanks.
Mrs. Bush.
Yes. So we continue to work through our professional development. Today with our MTSS, we really broke down into the conversations about, we've done the like screeners and we've analyzed the data. We've went in and did diagnostics to figure out more intentionality when it comes to interventions. And so we've got that all set up. And so now the conversation is about the different ways that we need to implement each one of those and to do it with fidelity. And so we came up with some fidelity checklists that the teachers can use. So they picked a specific group that they were going to work with and focus on, so that they can self-reflect as they go through that process. And then, of course, we also have the depth of knowledge. And according to our ISAPs, that is definitely an area that we need to focus on as some of our results with that. And so we've had a couple different learnings with the depth of knowledge, really building that strong foundation so that teachers understand the purpose behind it and the why. So we'll follow up with our second round with our younger K2 teachers here in another week. And then we have the collaboration piece going on where we meet with grade levels and special education. The paras are involved in that, really looking at all of the pieces and the data that are coming in from what we are evaluating through not only our interventions, but our statewide test as well. Yesterday I went to a data day at Central Rivers in Marshalltown. It was a great learning experience where we talked about the gold and the IGDs. We talked about our FAST panorama, and then also learning some more information. Joe Kramer came and talked about the ISAPS data as well. So we have a meeting coming up with the 3 through 6 grade team on October 23rd. That'll be one of our conversations to dig into, look at the grade level piece of that, and then look at the progression through the grade levels to see, is there any red flags that it's showing us that we need to really look at our core curriculum with, that we're seeing like maybe in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and on, even maybe are there key areas that are showing us red as we move along. So that is what our professional development has been focused on. When we think about some upcoming events that we have a family night, a literacy math night coming up on October 17th from 5:30 to 6:30. The teachers have come up with a variety of activities, and that was one of my goals, was to bring families back into the school this year, not just with your concerts, but some additional opportunities as well. We will have 2 vendors there, the Appleberry Farms and the Primitive in Yoder, there to just provide like some food for our families. So it wasn't something on top of that families or teachers were having to do, but it's a way to kind of add to our special night with that. So there'll be a variety of literacy and math activities that night. Then we have Red Ribbon Week coming up the last week of October, the 27th through the 24th through the 27th. So there'll be special dress up days with that. And then of course we have conferences coming up November 1st and 2nd. A letter will be heading home to our families, not only through Friday folders, but also through JMC on Friday. For them to sign up, we use JMC to sign up for conferences with that. So planning and preparing for those as well. And then I am going to cast here, and so we can go over the FAST data. I'm going to try and make this larger for you. If I can, without. And I'll scroll over. So, this has kindergarten, through 6th grade data, and I'll break it down. So when you're thinking about FAST, it is in kindergarten and 1st grade that they do, early reading and early math, okay? And so kindergarten, you don't have anything to compare that, you don't have the same grade level to compare them to, which I have done through the rest. Tried to compare the same set of students from year to year, so you can see the progression of that from last year to this year's fall testing. So our current kindergartners came in at 87% proficient on the early literacy, and then in math, they came in at 84% proficient. So the goal is to have them at least at 80%. So that was awesome to see them come in at that benchmark.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
What percent of your kindergartners also have done preschool at GMG? Do you know? Estimate?
A percent, I don't know if I can give you an exact percent, but I would say that there's probably 4 or 5 kiddos.
That did or that didn't?
That did preschool, is that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Most of them have. I think there's 3 or 4 that haven't. Yeah.
With us
So,
too?
yes,
Awesome, that's
yes,
great.
yes, we have a very good return attendance rate for that, so. And then in 1st grade, once again, you're still doing early reading and early math. So it's kind of nice because you can compare a similar test, but also you have to remember that the tests change over a period of time. So, excuse me. So in the fall, there's always 5 tests, and then some of those will repeat in the winter and also in the spring, but then also some change. When we look at our kiddos in the 22-23, so that would have been last year's kindergarten class, they were at 89% in the fall, 92% in the winter, and 62% in the spring. And then in the fall, in early math, they were at 92%, 72%, and 69%. And I know some of the conversations were about some of the skills that hadn't been taught when they did the assessing. So that's conversation that keeps coming up about, when we're thinking about our curriculum and looking at testing periods, making sure that we're helping to prepare our kids the best that we can. And then the current score of our 1st graders, which would have been last year's kindergartners, they were at 63%. So it's, they were less than in the fall last year, but it was nice to see from the spring to this fall, they at least, I would call it maintain, right? Because they went from 62 to 63%. And then in early math, they were at 74%. So they did increase from the spring, but did not, when you're comparing fall to fall, they did not increase.
Stacey, is that showing like that 22-23 data line for 1st grade? So that's showing at the fall, they came in at 89, and then by the spring, they dropped down to 62.
Yes, and a big piece of that was dealing with like some, well, in that particular, you also have to know that they weight certain things differently.
Okay.
So, and that is dealing with some fluency. We did do some adjusting throughout the year with even the progress monitoring. They were doing a lot of sight words, which wasn't showing, when we were reflecting on the progress monitoring, it wasn't showing great growth. So we switched it actually to nonsense words, because we felt that with doing that, they were really focused in on the letter sounds. And so that would have a better impact when it comes to their reading fluency and also sight word recognition. There's also one of the tests that is recommended as a test that they can do for FAST as well in 1st grade.
So do you think the previous results were more accurate, or the present results were more accurate since you changed them?
Well, I mean, I think it says that they didn't lose a lot over the summer. I think also your,
The 20%.
the benchmarks
the
aren't
20%
the
drop.
benchmarks aren't the same either.
Are we,
So,
is the 20% drop, is that more accurate now because you changed that? Or was it more accurate than 92%?
Well, I think there's a lot of factors that fall into that, because also even from the fall to the winter, they're not testing the exact same test. That's the hard part about FAST, is that they don't use the same, it's hard to compare because their tests change. And then also the weighting from a test in the fall will change to a completely different test that has a higher weight, meaning like the impact that it has on a score in the winter. So that's where it gets really hard to compare.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That seems kind of useless.
So what number does it, what does the number really mean then?
Say that, yeah, that's where, when you get to second grade now, that's where it changes, because it's straight fluency. They have the same passages, so then it's easier to compare. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So when you look at second grade in 22, 23, they were at 38% in the fall. They stayed 38% in the winter, and then in the spring, they were at 37%. And then in the fall, for A math, it should actually, no, it was early math, because that would have been their score the previous year, was 54%, 73%, and 52%.
This is the proficiency rate?
So what's this, yeah.
So once again,
Barely
if-
half of our kids.
yeah, which is once again why we're doing the work that we're doing with the MTSS process, and also the DOK work, and also the collaboration piece. Because we have to make sure that our core is solid, right? Now we're looking at, that'll be a conversation for actually coming up here soon, because the current curriculum that we're using is 8 years old. And it was based upon the Readers and Writers Workshop, which most people aren't even utilizing anymore, right? So, and then based upon what we're doing, that's something that has to be,
Elementary literacy curriculum.
yeah, that would be awesome.
What's that, Christine?
So that's all elementary literacy curriculum then.
Mhm. But then also looking, and I'll share this with you now, but going from, our last year's fall, proficiency rate to this year overall proficiency rate, we went up 11%.
So did they give you further detail, if I could focus on the math part?
Yeah,
Do you know what concepts, mathematical concepts are on the fall, the winter, and the spring?
those stay pretty similar, except for the early math, and when you're comparing early math to A math,
Okay,
they're different.
okay.
They're different.
So when you get this data that you're showing us, did they also give you
So, yeah,
deeper data that says they actually scored pretty good in whole numbers,
it will give you
but
a,
we're testing them on fractions, and honestly, we haven't covered fractions yet, so
Right.
of course it's gonna drop.
it'll give you like, hey, here's some areas that they could be discrepant in, but what we do then, anybody who's not proficient, is we go and do what's called numeracy project. So what that does, based upon where they score, because they get a scale, each student gets a score. So then what we do is we go and, we go to the numeracy project, which then we do assessments with, because this is just a screener.
Yeah.
Okay? Then we go to a diagnostic through the numeracy project in order to go, what are the skills that they're missing?
Okay.
So then we create interventions, and last year was really the first year with interventions for math. Previous to that, it was just reading. And so, that is something that we implemented last year, and then we continue to do that this year. So that we can be intentional not only about reading interventions, but also math interventions as well. Okay.
What's a classroom look like if potentially that many kids need intervention? Is it just brought back whole group then?
It varies on the number, okay? So they're like last year, in 5th and 6th grade, they did do a whole group for comprehension. But there's a lot of kids that are needing phonemic awareness and phonics, which is why we brought in the 95% group as well, which.
And letters.
And, yeah, and while we're currently doing letters, which is actually in the science of reading and understanding the pathways and doing that, and the entire lower elementary is doing that, but what one teacher, but also brand new to the district, so she's, you know, getting her ground there and things like that. And then we have, Title I teacher taking letters, we have preschool taking letters, I'm taking letters, a fourth grade teacher is taking letters, so. Then when you look at third grade, once again, you're comparing apples to apples because you're looking at fluency. And so they were, 31%, 44%, and 53% in their fluency. In their A math, they were at 36, 62, and then there was a drop to 56. And then when we look at this year's scores, we were at 66% in the fall and with our fluency and 57% proficient in our A math.
How long have we been using the readers and writers workshop curriculum?
We've been using it for, I think this is our 8th year. Yeah. So that's once again too, like where we're having that rotation of the curriculum. But we did the social studies for this year because that was 25 years old. So, in 4th grade, so this is too, where now you're not necessarily comparing apples to apples because these kiddos in 22 and 23 that are the same kids that are currently in 4th grade, their score was based upon CBM, which was the fluency, and this year they're transitioning to A reading, which is more the comprehension. So they were at 72%, 69, and 83 in, in their fluency. And their A math was 69, 69, and they dropped down to 57. And then when we look at their scores right now in doing the A reading, they were at 65% proficient, which is it's their first time then doing that comprehension piece where they did not do that in 3rd grade. And then 41% in math. In 5th grade, they do the A reading. So in 22, 23, they were at 64, 70, and 67%. And then in the A math, they were at 54, 56, and then 63%. And then this current year was 81% proficient and 58% proficient. And then lastly, 6th grade, in 22, 23, their A reading was 37%, 47%, and 51%. And then their math was 34%, 31%, and 32%. And when you compare then this year, you're looking at their A reading in the fall, they were at 53%, and their math was 42%. That's all we have this year. Questions?
Are your teachers ever surprised by the diagnostics?
A little bit, because there are some individuals who, I'll just use like a 3rd grader who does the diagnostic and they're working on some kindergarten or 1st grade skills. So, that's definitely alarming because that's going to be a tier 3 intervention then. And what are those pieces that we're missing? And trying to figure those pieces out. Some correlate and some correlate with what they see within the classroom and some it doesn't necessarily see what they feel like they have more skills than what they're seeing within the application of the actual curriculum that we're using opposed to what they're seeing from here.
That's a student that wasn't transferred, it was since kindergarten up.
Say that again.
The 3rd grader is a student that's been with us.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But knowing too that last year was the first year that we even started to dive into our our math portion of that, so.
It's working.
This year, we're having a lot of data days during our PLCs as well. We look at it at least twice a month,
I'm pushing
where we have
conversations.
not been able to do that prior to.
Do parents have access to the 23-24 results?
That will be shared with that conference. Yeah.
Thank you.
So if I look at this with big picture eyes, your sixth grade, 2/3 of your kids are not proficient in math. Is that borne out with the ISAP data as well? I mean, you have this big test of information, and then you take this other big test of information. Are they sending you the same message?
Similar, yeah, but you're also not comparing all the same information. That's the hard part, like, when you want to, if you want to compare this, you're not comparing all apples to apples. So,
Because they're each testing for different.
yeah,
Right, FAST is a screening tool,
Yeah,
whereas
it's not-
ISAST is a more evaluative tool,
it's a
so,
summit. It's a summit.
yeah.
So which do you rely on more?
That's,
You kind of have to interpret both sets of data and then make the best correlation you can between the two. It's just like when we're identifying for interventions and things, we take a number of things. We look at ISAST data, we look at FAST data, we look at their actual performance, live and in color. And then between all of those facets, then you figure out which ones need intervention in which areas, so.
and I think you have to look at your core curriculum too and see like how are kids actually performing in the classroom as well. Right?
Yeah,
Because that's an everyday thing. Some kids, when you think about ISAST, some take it really serious, some don't. Same with this as well, right?
Right. They read it and they math are hard because you're doing it 3 times a year, right?
Mhm.
So you might
And the benchmark
do it
goes
one
up.
way and then think, well, I must have got it wrong, I wanna get more, so I'm gonna change the way I did it, but then you did it right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
the-
and the teachers have, in the upper elementary, the teachers have them set goals of, they, they keep them very informed about how they're doing, through their progress monitoring, and show them their graphs and share with them, hey, here's where you scored last time before they go into the next testing. Here's what the goal is this time, and you can have kids, even like with the fluency, you can have kids increase 40 words per minute, but if they were so non-proficient,
Sure.
40 is great that they increase that many words, but they're still not considered proficient. But honestly, if a child can read 120 to 130 words in a minute, they're probably gonna be okay, but it's saying that they need to be at 136, they need to be at 145. But yet then, can they read with expression? Did they pause it, could they comprehend? So all of those things.
Comprehension.
Thank you, Stacy.
Yeah.
Mr. Gargis.
All right, first of all, and if you would do me a favor, I relinked the A reading, so if you could reopen that, because I didn't have the same data sets on both of them, so I replaced that. Thank you. First of all, starting off with the just kind of activities related things, cross country has really been doing well with their coach, a lot of personal records set. We had one of our runners medal just in the last big meet that they had with the conference, and he's been doing pretty well with that, and biting on his medal and all of that stuff. Volleyball has also been going really well. They're getting ready for playoffs starting on Monday. Once again, because that all goes through Bound, it's all electronic ticketing. We sent the link out to the district for how to do that, so you can purchase at a time. You can purchase at the gate as well, but then people start stacking up if they're trying to do that. So if you want to limit the hassle, if you buy online ahead of time, that makes that easier. Football has really built a lot on their skill set this year. They have not scored less than 20 points a game, any game this season. So that's been phenomenal. I know most of us were at homecoming And that was a really neat finish to the night there. Friday night's game is also pinked out, and we're doing that in conjunction or in cooperation with GR as well. So both sides should have pink out in the stands and, do that in recognition of the fight for cancer. So that'll be good. Let's see, the concert went very well last night. You can definitely tell which songs the kids really like because, there's just a little more oomph to them. So they did that. That last one, I think they probably knocked the front row over a couple of times. We have the 11th and 12th grade FAFSA night coming up here soon. Our counselor's been sending out notices on that. She'll send another one out, same notice again here shortly, and then that was just posted to social media. We broke it up this time so that because 11th graders and 12th graders have different needs when it comes to that FAFSA form. And I believe that's also going to coincide with parent-teacher conferences, so we can, get people in the door for one thing and then they can stay for the other thing too. So we'll get that done. We are in the secondary building, been going through teacher observation cycles. The way that they do that is teachers that are brand new to the profession, they get evaluated 3 times during the year. Teachers that are new to our district get evaluated twice during the year. And then veteran teachers get once every 3 years, which is the typical Iowa model cycle for that. So just going through doing those. During our professional development today, one of the things that we've been doing the past couple of weeks is our individual professional development plan meetings. Every teacher, and then I also asked the paras to come up with their, we call them IPDPs or IPDPs. And basically it's a professional goal plan for them. And in a lot of cases, like some of the departments have set their IPDP together because it ties in with their professional learning community goals. So all the things are kind of intertwining with each other. So I set up meetings with them so that we go over the initial, okay, what is your goal? What does it look like? Okay, maybe we want to tweak this. Let's add some Iowa core standards into this. So it's that initial one is so that I can see what they're at and where they're at and what they're planning on doing. And then if we need to bump it up a little bit, we can, or if we need to scale it back in some cases, we can. Because sometimes they try to eat the whole pizza at once instead of by the slice. So I did a lot of those, and there's some really neat goals going along there. We had our first SIAC meeting a couple weeks ago. That went really well. We talked about ISASP data, talked about communication, and with the parents that were there, we also talked about maybe some ideas to get some more community participation for things, because we know that that's the challenge these days. Everybody's got something going on, and getting people out there and really helping out is a big deal. Let's see, there were 6 of us that went to the Iowa Best Summit last week, which is about mental health and education, some different things like that. Had some really good workshops with it. And you never know what you're going to get with those sometimes. Sometimes, like there was one that the success coordinator from the elementary and I went to, and after about halfway through, we looked at each other and went, this has no value for us. We do not have that money. We don't have 10,000 students and all of this. So we moved on to something else at that point, and just got some work done while we were waiting for our next one. The one that really stood out to me was the keynote speaker. He's a very, very interesting gentleman. He has 2 doctorates now. He came from literally the barrio in South Texas, and he was a drug user, looked like he wasn't going anywhere in his life. And now he's been on faculty at Harvard and Brown University and some other places. But what he talked about, and one of the big takeaways for me, was he talked about an African proverb that says, when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. And he related that to education because we're the elephants, we're the decision makers. The grass is those students that we have to live off of. We don't have jobs, we don't have positions without those students. So if we are fighting, if we are not fighting amongst ourselves, or if we're butting heads with each other, all that's happening is the grass gets trampled and they ultimately don't get what they need. So it was really neat how he related that, because a lot of times we can lose sight of the fact that those kids are what it's all about. And, you know, just the more that we're mindful of that, and even the way that we're dealing with kids, he would never have gotten where he got if it weren't for two teachers that dropped notes in his backpack one of the last days of elementary school. And he finally read those years later, and they told him positive things about himself that he never even thought of. And he used that as motivation to take the chance on college, and then he just kept going. So it was obviously, I liked that speech a lot. He was a really good speaker. I was also at the Data Dive for the second half of yesterday, and it was just really nice. Joe Kramer built this beautiful spreadsheet that all we have to do is put the district data into it, and then it shows us the results. So at some other point, we can take a look at that to see what those areas were, but it really gives a good visual of things. All right, on to our fast data.
I didn't get anything new.
Maybe refresh.
I did.
Okay. I think it was new. It's hard to tell that it was new because I changed the date range on there. I had.
What you sent me previously was a PDF though.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
And I relinked, so it should be good. Apologize. I gotta get up and point at things when I get up here. So once we get that. And what I did is I took the date range as well. Now we only have two assessments that we use for FAST. We use A reading and A math. And what I did is I went from fall of last year to fall of this year. So that gives us 4 reporting periods total, since we take it 3 times per year. So if you could scroll down to further, keep going, stop. Back down just a little bit, please. And a little more. There you go, perfect, thank you. All right, so for our reading language arts, or for the reading portion, what we're looking at here in particular are the growth numbers. I know it's hard to see some of these numbers up here, but fall of last year, we were at a 538. We went to a 540 for fall of this year. 548, we held steady here. 556 to 555, still relatively steady, right in the same zone. And then 554 to 555. So it showed a positive growth in the majority of those areas. The thing that I look at is you've got the anticipated growth there, and when we're above those, that's when we're getting the green. So those are the numbers I like to see because it's showing that positive growth each time.
You're covering up 7, if my eyes can read that. Thank you.
All right, and then seventh, we had 525 and 533, so significant jump there. And so again, they showed some good positive growth factors with each of those. Now the one that I'm even more excited about.
Hang on just a minute.
Oh.
Green is good,
Yes,
and dark brown, the smaller the dark brown, the better.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Now, the one you'll like even better, hey, Matt.
Thank you.
All right.
There you go.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought I was making it bigger.
Let's see, I don't know how we get that bigger, but if we can scroll down to where 7 is up here somewhere.
I'm trying to get it bigger for you.
All right, thank you.
And scroll down.
Yeah, there we go, thank you. All right, so math once again, we've got 218 fall of last year, 219 this year, 222 to 225, 229 to 231, and 233 to 234. That's all positive growth. So having those extra math teachers and new curriculum is starting to pay off. As we said, it wasn't going to be, sometimes our increments aren't as big. We've got a 0.03 or 0.07 here on the positive side, but then we have some bigger growth showing in some of the other grades. So we are getting there. The ISAST data also bears that out. When we looked at that spreadsheet that Joe Kramer created, we were last year in double digits in some of the areas I did not want to see. This year, we're in single digits in those areas. So there's been significant change there. And it's just, as these steps are going on, it's starting to come along. We also have a new math specialist for the AEA. And she and our math department are now in contact so that they can start working on two different pieces. They use for the more intensive tier 3 intervention, they use the numeracy project. I know we're using that elementary as well. And then for the other area, they use SOAR. And that's something we haven't gotten to use yet, but our new consultant knows about that. So she's gonna start getting us into that and getting SOAR active too. So that's gonna help us out. So any questions over fast data or anything else that I ran my mouth about?
So when you showed us the map, the top stuff, that was English, right? And it was all green on the right, and now I see green and blue on the right. Can you go?
Just a sec, yeah, if we can get over this way, there we go. And then, yeah, once again, we're showing there, green and blue, and then I'm forgetting my color codes, let me look at my screen real quick.
Yeah,
What's it say across?
so the little squares are green, but there's two that are orangish. I just
Right.
don't know what's good and bad news.
Okay, green and blue are good.
Blue is
And
good, okay.
David can see this too. 30 to 85 or 30 to 84.99 is green. And then 85 or the 85th percentile and above is blue. So blue and green, good. Those are
Like
what we
blue's
want.
the top,
Yep.
green's the middle, and are those two brown ones?
It's brown and red.
Not,
Yeah, the
not
orange,
as good as
orangish one, not as good, yeah, not as good there, but those were the predicted in the goal. The
Okay.
actual outcome was there as well. So yeah, that's that one area in 7th grade where we're still pulling up some bootstraps there.
Yeah.
So,
So when you have the zero, oh man, I would flunk the exam, 0.11, 0.1, I'm guessing. So there's the green and orange and then there's 0 point somethings. Could those be negative?
they could be negative, yes, or they could be considerably lower. It's just, we are showing positive growth. We're still not quite where we want to be yet there, but we're getting
Not
there.
negative,
Exactly.
okay.
So it's a, like I say, it's a heck of a lot better than where we were at, and I'm really happy with what's going on right now, so. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Kim, did you have anything for us?
Yeah, just this last probably 3 weeks have been very tough, and being an SBO, Transportation Director, AD, the HR Director at SBO, the bus drivers, I'm trying to get all those things filled in, it's been very difficult. It's been out on Teach Iowa quite a bit, we're getting 1 or 2 people. If everything goes right, we'll have at least 2 to 3 bus drivers by the end of the month, which is wonderful. State reporting, we've got about 10 state reportings due within the next 3 weeks, so I'll be working on that. Our superintendent meeting, our district leadership meeting, which is here, and our special education meeting has gone very well in the last 2 months. We're getting everybody on board, we're having meetings so that we know what each other is doing. And our district leadership team, which is our buildings and grounds, our custodians, our nutrition, all of those people are working very diligently together, and it's really starting to pay off and stuff. Data Day was really fun to get around in the morning. Stacy and I had an opportunity to work very closely on what's going on with the data and asking some tough questions that we can take back into our PLCs, and same with Jamie in the afternoon. I have to commend both of our administrators that we are really asking the tough questions now with our PLCs. We're asking, the who, what, where, when, why. Also asking, what are you doing to change? Our special education teachers are doing a data day monthly, making sure that their scores for their students are not, how do I want to say this, that are not staying 9, that they're not flatlined, is what I want to say. And we're really looking at, once those 4 data points are gone and they're not moving forward, we are looking at the intervention and changing it to make sure that our students are moving to the right levels and stuff. So we're seeing a lot of growth in our students this year, and I've been happy with that.
The AEA did mention yesterday specifically too, that, our AEA administrator, that, we're one of the few districts that are actually showing all of the reporting that they want to see. There are several that it's not coming through, but it was really nice to hear from her that, yeah, we're actually getting the information that we need to get there. And, so that's been helpful too, because the more that the AEA is able to help us out, you know, it's just that much more of a resource for us, so. it's
Oh, and I
been-
will tell you in November, I think it's 7, we are having a special education audit. So, we're working very diligently on that as well. And I got a report and we only had 4 things that we needed to work on, and 3 of the 4 were because we didn't check something on Achieve to say that they were discontinuing the, goal for that student, so we were in compliance 100%, so that was nice.
November 20th. Is our meeting.
That audit is just, standard.
Mhm.
Is that yearly?
No, about every 5 years is usually,
Okay.
Mhm.
3 to 5, depending on.
Thank you for all you're doing. Okay, on to action items. We have the approval of the FFA trip. Someone like to make a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the FFA trip.
Thanks, Doug. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jill. Is there any discussion on that? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye. And opposed, same. Great. We need to approve the replacement of a new chiller.
I'm gonna give you some information. They are not going to settle anything until after they tear all 10 of the, what are they called, Jamie? Or Stacy, all 10 of the motors apart to determine it. It could take another 3 weeks. We've got to make a decision. I don't care what it is. I hate to have, I will tell you, if we do a used one and they rebuild everything, we only have warranty for 1 year. And it's a 26-year-old chiller. Mine, I know we're almost out of debt with our school. We just got a bad news with our boiler here. It's not working right either. I would love to take our chiller and our new boiler and maybe, so we're not tight on our funds. We don't have any funds or debt right now. Maybe take a loan out and, you know, pay it off quickly if we need to or whatnot, but we've got to make some kind of decision so that we are not renting and throwing our money out the door. And right now we pay almost $2,000 a week for our children.
That rental one, that rental one.
That rental. And right now, they're gonna come pick it up in November, but they have to bring it back in March because we're gonna need the air conditioning then. And we won't have our, the chiller takes almost 60 weeks. So we're looking at 10 months.
To build them, right?
Huh?
To build them.
To get it here, to backlog that much. So we've gotta make some kind of decision.
That's a new one, or
That's a new one.
so no matter what,
We're looking at next,
60
September.
months.
yeah, September next year.
So would we still have to rent them till that new one would come?
62.
42 to 46 weeks.
4 to 6, okay.
60 weeks.
No,
60 weeks.
I had 60 months in my budget.
And how many, let's see,
What is the warranty on the new?
A new one is 10 to 15 years, depending on who we go with and what we
Okay,
do,
okay.
so. And I'll get all that information, and let you know before we buy, that we've got to, that I can move forward on getting one and purchasing and then moving forward. And I put on here what the cost of a new one.
But if it takes 60 weeks to get it,
We're gonna have to rent.
Right.
none of this
But
makes sense to me.
if it's 300,000 for a new one, do we pay it now, or do we pay it on delivery in September?
We have to pay it now.
No, it
They probably don't commit to buildings without some change, yeah.
And you can see in Baker's group, 1 compressor to 6 fans, the, replacement of it and all of that, it would cost $134,000. If we get a brand new one, it will cost $292,000.
I could see a down payment, but $300,000 up front.
$300,000 up
It's
front
nuts.
for a 10-month delivery, it's a little,
And I can give you all the information when we have a special board meeting. We've gotta do something. And that's why I put this on here for the replacement recommended is that for a brand new one, it goes step by step of why and what it is and everything. For the $292,000.
Besides Baker.
I did, Wood, what is it,
Woodman.
Woodman, and it was higher. And there's only 2 in the state of Iowa, that I know of, not anybody else. 42 to 46 weeks out is what they're saying now, lead time for the equipment.
Once it's arrived, then, I mean, are they penciling us in already, so when it arrives?
As soon as you guys give me permission to, I can get a hold of them and we'll work out all the details, they'll come here, I'll send you guys the thing, and this is what we'll be paying, and when we'll get it. And get it set up, I can hopefully have it done by next week.
Is there any way to pay for that with the money we have now? Like, is there-
We can pay it through our save and our Pebbles, but the only thing I'm concerned about is you take that out and we have nothing to back up with.
It's only October, yeah.
I said, I didn't know we had those like CDs. Is that untouchable for?
They're unfrozen in 1 or 2 months. Where then we can pay it off very easily then anyway, but. So my question is, how do you guys want me to get started on this? But we've gotta get something going. I just feel like we're throwing money out every time we are not making a decision on this.
ideally, it'd be better to,
And I can bring the buildings and grounds people in and they can meet with me as well, to determine what we wanna do and go from there.
there's no way that they would do a down payment, secure the
I don't believe
secure
so,
the terms, and then
I don't believe
you
so.
can pay the balance when the CDs come due.
The only thing that I see on the project terms and conditions is it says the customer will promptly pay invoices upon receipt. And then it goes on to, if you don't pay, all the ugly words, but
So maybe if we just buy the chiller, we put the money out to purchase the chiller, then maybe all the other,
Like labor.
the labor, the
Labor
install,
installation.
you know, maybe that doesn't come
Does it
due
get
until we
to
actually.
plural?
Yeah, it's
It
not
said plural
They don't have
invoices.
the labor
labor, yeah.
until they do it, right?
It said
They do.
plural invoices, so maybe that's the right thinking that it's the machine and not
So,
installation
because
yet.
really all we need to do is we need to get going on either replace or new. or
Right,
rebuild.
order.
Rebuild. And with rebuild with only 1 year's warranty, to me, it's not worth it.
Price doesn't make
I mean, you never know if it'll even last 6 months. I mean,
Could we talk about the high school boiler and maybe use that in making this decision too? I'm interested about like the financial kind of affair.
Especially if we're thinking of getting a loan for 2 things, maybe we should talk about 2 things.
No, let's just do that, so we can see what,
Could you talk about the boiler and
at
what,
the high school, so we can,
yeah.
so we're gonna skip it down.
well, we just wanna know how much we're putting out.
Yeah.
basically this part is the reconditioning. Every year the boilers have to get certified. And then they identify what the needed work is. So on the quotes that they're showing from Baker Group, this is the work that they identified that needs to be done. And it's remove and dispose of the old
It
belts.
just looked like it was just 2 belts.
Yeah,
It was like, what, $5,200?
yeah.
Right.
45, 46.
And I could have separated these out, but I wanted you guys to
So that's
understand.
not bad.
No,
I was
that's,
expecting higher.
that's all that is, the boiler, isn't it?
Okay, it's not
So
a
are you
new
talking
boiler.
No.
it's just-
$6,000?
Yeah.
Max,
Well,
I
so
mean,
you're
You're looking at about 4,600.
4,600 bucks, they gotta replace it.
23 and 23,
Yeah,
gotcha.
voids and belts on.
So that, so I guess we don't need to.
I thought it was new boiler.
No,
Yeah.
but we just put how much money into the boiler last year, and then it's like, these things are going wrong now, and it's like,
Okay.
everybody makes sure around, it seems like there's something with the heat or air conditioning that's going down. But I wanted you guys to know about it more than just
Yeah.
throwing it through, that we've gotta work on the boiler a little bit more and stuff.
Okay, so back to the chiller.
Sorry, that doesn't
No,
impact.
What do you, I was thinking this, what do we want to do with that?
I will make a motion to approve the purchase of a totally new unit, so that we have the warranty and can get it ordered.
So a new chiller.
Mhm.
That's my motion.
Do we, so just clarify, we do have enough funds to cover that? Without taking any special funds?
Well, how it's paid for is, if we know that we're gonna get it, then how it's paid for looks like there's some options, like,
Well, we can take all of our pebble and our save money, but if something else happens, we have nothing. Because we're looking at, I mean, we have 250 and another 150, so you got about 50,000 left in each one. The only thing is, if something major happens, we won't have anything to fall back on. We're out of debt. We could take a loan out, and then when the CDs come, then we can pay some of that off.
Does it make more sense if we're out of debt to not go back in and if something hits down the road, then we go look at the loan?
But we.
The only thing is, right now, our taxpayers aren't paying anything, aren't doing anything. So if we don't have anything there, then our taxes will go down then too.
But we do have income coming,
I'm sorry, what?
we will have some income coming due 2-3 months from the CDs.
Yeah.
If we spend this money.
Available.
Yeah, but I don't know how much, that's something.
I mean, how does it work to just go out and get a loan for school?
yeah, really.
I mean,
You just walk down to the bank and say, we don't wanna spend our Pebble money, would you loan us some money? Is it that simple? What's the interest?
Well, I don't pay up the interest, that's why it said, I need to bring all this back, but I can't even move forward until you guys give me approval to move forward on it, and,
You don't know what to go get yet.
excuse me?
You don't know what to go get yet.
Right.
So we have a motion to purchase a new chiller.
We just need to get it secured.
Right,
Okay.
and then I can,
We can discuss.
we may have to have a
that.
special board meeting to say, hey, these are our two options.
For the
And
financing.
then I can go from there.
Right, but
And I'm meeting, with the AEA, our SBO, because they're gone, I wanna make sure what funds we have, and I'm meeting with them next.
Sure.
And then, do you guys want me to bring it to the buildings and grounds people, or do we wanna have a meeting with everything, or what?
Something this big, this would be.
Everybody? Okay.
But do we have a second to this?
Yes.
First.
I will
Oh, you did,
second.
thank
I will
you,
second.
I did not hear you. Thank you. Okay,
Just
now
to
more
clarify,
discussion.
that's for the, like, getting the quotes and stuff.
No, it's
This is to
to
get,
purchase
to
it.
tell them we're gonna buy
We're
them.
getting-
Right, and then getting those numbers, which will,
Then we
can
can
make
discuss
decision.
finances.
Yes, discuss the financial part of it later, we just need to get going
Correct,
on it, so that
yes.
way we can have it by hopefully August, end of August, September 1, maybe.
29.
Yeah.
20.
Sorry. Okay, is there any more discussion?
I know it's a huge amount, that's why
We all need to take a deep breath.
And-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. All right, now we're on to anti-bullying and anti-harassment, anti-sexual harassment, policy 104 and 104R1.
And I apologize for this, I had it under Baxter because I do HR stuff for Baxter and I just linked the wrong thing, so. This is the bullying and harassment, and I sent it to all of you guys in the board updates with this and stuff, so.
So if we look at policy 104, it seems to me the reason it got tabled was the number 24 hours in paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is that 104R1?
No,
Okay,
104.
Within 24 hours, you will receive a point. Now, this is something that I did want to ask you guys. They said that you can do up to a month if you want.
Who's they?
The, SAI, I called the lawyer on that.
Within 24 hours.
I think the 24 hours makes sense on this one, because within 24 hours of receiving reports, that
School has to tell the parents. Is that right?
Yes.
the district will notify the parent. So
And
I
I like the 24
think
hours.
24 would be the maximum amount.
So a teacher hears of something at school, within 24 hours, they need to let the family know.
Yes. The one
That's
that,
his
the one that you tabled was the next one, where
The next one.
you had 2 days.
The R1.
And that one is
And
also.
you didn't do it in 2 days?
Yes.
It didn't
You don't
happen.
ever have to do it.
The
And that's-
complaints
I
had to be-
changed that.
the complaints
So
had to be
this one,
filed
if they
within
just
2
went
days.
as a pair, but from a month ago, we all kind of felt this
Well,
was okay.
This is the one that you
right?
had issued with.
That's the
because
next one.
Within 2 days, you had to file a complaint, and we didn't feel that was enough time for.
And Jamie
Mandatory
said we need to go and talk about the
The
two.
24 hours also goes with the mandatory reporting. We have to report 24 hours in advance on anything that happens.
So Ann, do you want to treat these as a pair?
I think we could, once we decide within our 2 days, whatever our 2-day time is,
And then I
we could do
highlighted,
one motion and say, motion to approve 104 and 104R1 with the change of however many.
So we can treat them together.
Yes,
At this point, we think
we need to,
104 is okay to written.
yes, but 104R1.
And I'm hearing.
so the one in the second one, I highlighted it, it says within 2 days. This one is where they said it could be,
180 days, according to ISP.
Yes,
so you guys can add whatever
and we said
days
2
you
was too
feel
small. and
is
1 was
necessary
too
to
big.
comply.
I mean, that's the recommendation of IASB is 180. You know,
Justin, say that for
That's the recommendation, and that's the way that I read it, was the recommendation of the IASB is that the complaint timeframe should, their recommendation is 180 days.
And this is when.
You've got 180 days to
outside-
file the complaint, so if my child was, you know, in some, hey, how was your day? Oh, it's fine.
You're saying as a parent?
This one is,
Whoever.
yeah,
So that the child reports to a teacher, the child reports to their parent, the parent comes and reports to the teacher, you know, because kids aren't exactly forthcoming. You know, hey, how was your day? Well, 2.5 weeks ago, this happened. Oh, okay, well, if we don't have that time frame built in for them to tell us, then the 2 days is expired, sorry, we can't do anything about it.
So IASB says we should do 100.
I saw 180 days is what they had for a recommendation.
So that's 6
Right.
months
Yes.
down the road.
So that gives it a time frame of,
so Jamie, you said last month that if you all were dealing with something in this area and that you wanted to have time to, as the people who have to administer this, we don't have to.
Right.
What
And
sounds good to you?
that, from the investigative side, that sounds fine. My biggest concern with the 180-day statement is the perishable memories of the people that you're having to ask.
Yeah.
Like I said, at one point, when I was doing a bullying investigation, I interviewed 17 different students.
Yeah.
And the odds of their memories being good 6 months from now are not really good. So I'm a little concerned about that because I think we would need to set a reasonable amount of action time for that. You know, it just, but by the same token, I see what they're saying. You want to leave it open just in case, but how do you effectively investigate something that far down the road when it's mainly reliant on witness statements? Because at that point, you're not gonna have, like with our cameras, even though they record, they only record for 30 days. So 6 months down the road, we can't pull up footage again, things like that. So I just, with the evidence being that perishable, that's my only reservation at that long a time frame. But that doesn't mean that it's a non-starter either, just for my personal thought, that's what I
What
look at.
sounds reasonable to you then, if I can just ask your,
I would say, for me personally, I would think 90 days, but I haven't discussed that with anybody else. That's just the Garga's brain.
I mean, because something could happen in May and you're supposed to investigate it in November. Mm-mm.
The thing with bullying, though, is to be bullying, it's not just gonna be one thing in May.
Mhm.
To be
Yeah.
bullying, it's one thing in May, a couple things in June,
Maybe it
3 or
takes
4 in
six-
July.
6 months.
So to get that pattern of bullying, to make it bullying, you have to give it time to be truly bullying and not just being a jerk, right?
Yeah,
On R1, the thing that we have highlighted, that sentence, the complaint shall be filed within 2 days of the event giving rise to the complaint or from the date the complainant could reasonably become aware of such occurrence. So that is when it actually has to be filed. It's not limiting the scope or the time of investigation, but the amount of time in which it needs to be filed. So that's where I think, we have that leeway to look at is how long do we think is a reasonable amount of time to file for an investigation on or
And
file a
a
complaint.
lot of our policies are 10 days. So like, student to student, student to teacher, teacher to teacher, it's usually 10 days. I didn't know if that's something we wanted to, because like Jamie says, after the complaints, knowing what it is. So I don't know.
So really, you're not looking back 10 days and anything that happened before that is void. You still look at that, it's just.
Right, it's just the complaint itself. They're trying to establish when to file it, so.
And who is they in that example?
The administrative team.
Yeah, or whatever the
Not like
designated
parent or
investigator
student, or
is.
the investigator, if it's a level 2 investigation, then it would be the police.
could it be 30 days?
Do whatever you
It
guys
could be
want.
whatever we want.
I know, but let's start being specific.
I mean, we only have video evidence for 30 days. That's cameras on the buses, that's cameras.
Yeah.
In the
Mhm.
school. I mean,
Good point,
beyond that.
Really
per
instrumental.
se.
yeah,
Especially for looking for a repeated pattern.
yeah,
As long as it's recorded, there's a record of it, we have video of it, and it continues, we just add to that case file, I guess.
Someone ready to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, that we change it to 30 days.
If that's what you want,
That's
the report, 30 days.
pretty, yeah,
For the R1?
for R1,
And then you're just approving 104
yes.
as is, perfect. Okay, so motion to approve 104, and then also motion to approve 104 R1 with the time frame 30 days.
To change to 30.
Yes, to change.
I'll second that.
Okay, so what is this again, so I can change it on this?
I can get that probably.
Changing the number 2 to the number
Yes.
30 and not changing 104.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Are we losing something by not saying 180? Let's just think that through one more time,
Yeah.
because you made a good point.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's my thought. IASB recommended 180. I don't know why we would go so far off of what IASB recommended.
the only question I have were they saying 180 was the maximum they would recommend going?
I
Or
can't remember
No.
that.
Okay.
They said that was the recommended
That was what
policy
they were
number.
Did they?
That
Okay.
was the number, was 180.
I think if you look under the GMG website, I'm not gonna do it, somebody else is better at that than me. If you look under the website, if you look under the policy on 104-R1, I think it says 180.
Leave it good for.
Because when I questioned the 2, I looked under the GMG site, policies, 104-R1, and I thought it stated on our website 180.
I'm almost there.
Yep, it does. Complaint shall be filed within 180 school days of the event giving rise to the complaint, or from the date the complainant could reasonably become aware of such occurrence. It's the same sentence, just with 2 instead.
Okay,
Easy peasy.
So we can just not change it?
So we're leaving it.
Well,
no, we have,
Yeah,
we
we
have
have to pick a number, because right now.
I know,
it's
at
2.
180.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I did say 2. I was thinking we had that same policy.
Where did the 2 come from?
Yeah, when did it change to, I guess? Why was there sample?
Can I strike my motion?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can amend it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna change
Is
it
that-
30 to.
So it could be 30 days, because it's up to,
It could be a 30, could be.
It can always
40.
act quicker, right?
26.
within,
If it's 100 days, it can be anything up. You should know this year.
I'm not sure.
Less than 180 days.
Less than?
that's the definition of within,
Okay,
that's
so
a greater
Doug,
than sign.
Doug has amended his motion up to 180 days. Jill, would you still second the amended motion?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Is there any more discussion? Great, okay, all in favor of approving this one, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, great, all ayes. Good, okay, now we have a wrestling sharing agreement.
It's just a sharing agreement that we've had for,
Updated, same one. with-
Yeah.
Same thing?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion
Are we
to
gonna,
approve
is there
the,
gonna be a girls
Sharing
is that we had in the past? Are we gonna
With the
have
girls?
girls wrestling?
that is through South
That
Tama.
we have, that has to come in front of us?
No,
Okay.
it will come next month. I just asked them and they said they didn't have it finished,
Okay.
so.
With the girls wrestling?
this says girls
It says
wrestling.
girls.
This one?
Yeah,
When I click, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that does say
something.
girls. Yeah, that's the 23-24 girls wrestling here.
So is there?
yeah, in South Tama. It's everything in general with it.
So this is the
Because
girls.
we
So
take
this
it
is
to
the
East
girls.
Marshall and we pick up East Marshall girls. and take
This
them
is
to
East
South
Marshall,
Tama.
GMG, and South Tama, all going. What this is saying is, and this is why I did it, I apologize. If East Marshall has their own girls team, we will go to East Marshall. If not, East Marshall and South Tama will go to South Tama. That's the way it is.
Okay, perfect.
Because then it makes it a full team versus only having 4 or 5. Right now, we have 2 girls that want to go wrestle at the high school level. Unless there's some more changes.
You made a motion to
I made a
approve,
motion.
you're still good?
Yep.
Okay, is there a second on this one?
One second.
Thanks, Christine, is there any more discussion?
Tell me one more time. It says GMGEM, but that's extended to ST for girls.
And they'll be called the South Tama Trojans.
It says the agreement is made among the board for South Tama Community School Districts with GMG and East Marshall. If you read that A part,
And it says December 27, 2022.
that's when it's, I gotta change all this. I just wanted to get it on the board because it starts November 1st.
And then we'll be getting a sharing agreement for the boys.
Yes.
Okay, super,
That's coming up.
yes, and we have, okay, so we have a motion and a second.
So I'll get that redone.
Any more discussion? Otherwise, all in favor of this wrestling agreement for the girls, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same. Great, that is done. Now we have the SBO sharing agreement. We talked about this earlier. Any other questions on this one?
We talked about it, but we didn't move on it, right?
Right, we did not move on it. We just talked about it in reference to the
Yes, but
SBO.
don't really read this because this is
That's not-
written for social
Yes,
workers.
this is the one that's sent me.
But we got the idea.
I shared the idea with you and I just sent
We're on this.
him a thing saying he sent me the wrong thing.
So we're on
So
zero.
could we say it costs us nothing for help?
Has to be able to-
Okay. At some point, could we see the correct sharing agreement? Even if we approve it tonight, can we, even if you just put it in
I can
the
give
board
it in the board
updates?
update.
Is that okay?
Yes, that would be great.
So what, right now I will do the GMG girls, GMG boys wrestling, and then the SBO shared agreement
Rivers, SBO, not social worker.
with AEA. And I sent Michael a thing, so.
I think, I'm sorry, Kim, I didn't interrupt you. I think this is a great deal for whoever, for our SBO. And I wish we would have had it earlier. I just think it's really great, because there's so many things that you only do on that job once a year, and you don't know it until it's time to do it, and I think it's great.
Well, and what I like about it is that they are gonna have a cohort of 1 or 2 year SBOs that they've never had that opportunity to work. And they're gonna go at a very slow pace. Because I know when I went the first 2 years, they were going so fast, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even remember what she said, you know, and Katie even was sitting next to me my first year she was sitting here, and it's like, hey, I don't get this, what's going on here, you know, and stuff, so they just move so fast, and this is where, and I met with the chief and with the SBO people and stuff, and there were 3 superintendents in the meeting stating, what is it that we truly want? What is it that needs to be happening with this? And honestly, it's a great opportunity even for the superintendent that's new to go with that SBO to be able to do that. And they said that that would be great. They would do that as well, so.
So, someone like to make a
I'll make a
motion?
motion to approve the sharing, SBO sharing agreement.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Doug. All right, all in favor of this agreement, say aye.
Hi.
And opposed, same sign. Great, that's approved. We have an early graduation.
And this student, they meet all the criteria and then some, just, they're ready to get into college and get working, so, pretty standard fare. And they have already signed the agreement acknowledging.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
They've been clear.
Mrs. Lyman put that together, and yeah, they're already aware of what they can and can't do by graduating early, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the early graduation.
Great.
I'll second.
Thanks, Christine. Any more discussion? Guys, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? Great. Congratulations to them.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the elementary door bid.
Okay, remind me, what do we do with the bills when we're talking about?
We paid it pending
And
approval,
approval.
this approval, so. These are the doors between the, I guess it'd be the north end and
Yes,
the
yeah,
preschool.
so the frame is bent, the glass is cracked. You have to be very diligent about making sure that that actually latches, every single day, because it will not latch on its own.
You probably should have been replaced last
Did
year.
the building move or like?
Somebody hit it or?
I think what's happened is the wind, because it's kind of a tunnel between, that fence, like that building and the other, and so if there was a time that it didn't latch, then it swung it, because you can clearly see that it doesn't even line up, the frame is bent,
This is between the elementary and the preschool.
Yeah. Mhm.
There's only 2 doors.
There's 2 doors.
But not by the gym.
And I know that we tried to bend it a little bit last year to make it work, and it's just, in one day it
It's
wasn't
been
locked.
bad
and
for a
we've had
while,
people
hasn't it?
walking,
Like,
so.
Yeah, it was bad when I came on, so.
when I went on the building
Sounds like
tour.
Yeah, and I don't know if a rock has hit it or what, I mean, because it's not shattered through, but there's definitely a distinct crack.
But the frame is bad too.
The frame is bad too.
It's not just.
Yeah, you can go and look at the outside of it and see that it's a gap here, like, and then nothing down here,
Are
and
they ready to install pending approval?
say that again.
Are they ready to install pending approval, get her in before the snow flies?
That would be fantabulous, yes.
Just
I
clarify, it is
told
just
Kyle
two
it was going
doors,
to
there's
the
no
board
inside
tonight,
door.
and we're wanting
Yeah, it's just the
to get it ordered right away.
two doors.
When you're looking straight.
Yes, double hunting.
Yep, so,
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the purchase of
Thanks,
the elementary
Justin.
school door.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second for just?
Second.
Thank you, Jill. All in favor?
Aye.
Purchasing, say aye. Anybody opposed? Great. Okay, let's talk about the boiler belts.
You really don't have to even,
No,
Okay.
but.
but it's on there, so, but the main reason I put it is because I wanted you guys to
Just so we
see where we still have to do.
Just preventive maintenance.
Yes.
Perfect.
So if they looked at those boilers and all they saw were 2 worn out belts,
That's pretty
that's
good.
somewhat good news in there, isn't there?
And that's,
For the cost of a boiler.
And they have it torn apart right now, and so they said they will be there Friday if it's approved, so.
Great.
So moved.
Do we need, you don't need
No.
motions, you're just gonna do it and we'll shove in the bills?
Whatever you guys want to do.
Just get it going.
Just move forward.
Just move
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
Otherwise,
Then I'm gonna take the A's and A's off.
Forty-
Yeah, yeah.
40 degrees in here.
That can be just for information.
These pipes will be breaking.
Oh, you ought to hear them the past couple of days. You'd think it was the Arctic North in there.
I heard about it tonight, so.
It's always cold in this building in October. What are you talking about? Nothing new.
I got on the intercom and I said, okay, we all know there's a couple weeks every year where it's like this. So bring an extra sweatshirt, bring a jacket. No, you cannot bring a blanket.
Okay, we are on to approving the SBRC modified allowable growth and
For
supplemental.
special ed deficit, last year we had $168,000, we're down to 78, like only having, really watching what we were spending and stuff, but the main thing is, we didn't have a teacher last year, so that helped out immensely, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the SPRC modified allowable growth, $79.68.
Perfect. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Justin. Any more discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed, same. Great. Let's talk about some policies.
Yes.
Jill.
I've been waiting and waiting. I know you all read all 153 of these and enjoyed it as much as I did. The Series 300, when I read them, had little minor tweaky things, typo kind of level. So I don't have any comments on Series
306.
300.
The 306, it had
It's a highlight.
the elementary principal's name and the secondary principal's name, so Jill asked me if I would pull both of those names out. Remember, I just put elementary principal and secondary principal. That way we don't have to continue changing it and stuff. So that was the only change that we had.
306, yeah.
Right.
In the 300s.
You must help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just use the titles. Yeah, yes. Perfect.
But in the 400, if we could treat them together, I would like everybody to look at 403.1, please. There were two in the 400s that I was confused on. I'm not saying there needs to be any change. I just need somebody to clarify to me.
You said 403.1?
403.1.
Employee physical examinations.
So, as I'm reading this, it says, there's a note at the bottom of page 1. Okay, this is only one page. I'm sorry, there's the first note. So this basically says good health is important, and we do pay something towards a physical exam. I honestly don't know what we do.
That's just for the bus drivers, isn't it?
Well, the first paragraph says bus drivers, but the second paragraph says the district will pay $50 towards the cost of employees' physical exam that is not covered by insurance.
Well, but all of our people are involved by insurance, but if somebody would not have insurance, then we would pay up to $50.
So note number 1 says the law no longer requires a district to conduct physical exams for all employees upon hire. But, so the law doesn't require it, but we do.
The law does now require it. What is it, every 5 years, guys? Is that what the new law was? Every 5 years, you have to have a physical now.
All employees.
So this note is a little out of date. Am I reading that right?
Yes.
Let's table this 403 and I'll bring that one back and let me double check with the, Iowa School Board Association on it.
And note number 2 says, districts need to amend the last line of paragraph 2 if the district uses a provider selected and paid for by the district and the employee is not so. I don't even know what that says, but do we need to amend the last line of paragraph 2?
No, because that's only if we don't want the employee to self-select, and I don't think we care if the employee self-selects who
Okay.
does the physical, as long as it's a doctor. Right?
Okay.
Like, that's my thought, I don't, well, yeah, I don't care who they go to, as long as.
Because we don't,
Right, we'll pay the
our board policies, we
Right.
don't pick, you go to whoever.
We'll pay $50, unless you're covered by insurance, and then, yeah.
Okay,
So do you want me to take 403.1, check
check
with
in.
the Iowa School Board
Yeah.
Association?
Check in about
no,
if we,
the first note. The
Okay.
the one that says the law no longer requires a district. If we need to have a paragraph that's up, if they change something, then this needs to be updated and we need to all.
So right here, Jill. That's school board. Will you highlight where you're?
No, I don't know how to hide it.
I can do it.
Thank you. Put it in yellow.